We're back for another week of talking about reveals and summarizing them, except this time you guys said in the comments that you'd like to still see the reactions, so whenever that happens, I will put that in first. And of course, today we're also joined by Jason in the background. And
Hello,
this time...
I'm still here. I guess I'll be here for a more couple of weeks if I'm still alive, so...
Yeah. So, he'll be here every so often. I also, you guys asked that I give him a microphone, and I managed to find a setting on my camera that allows me to make him more hearable, so that should also be better. But this week, there's actually not as much that was revealed. There's the Dual Nation cards. We have one that I'd say is probably one of the strongest ones, and then the other ones are kind of like somewhere along the middle. And then we also got, it's quite a bit of news for English, like they announced like the box topper promos, a lot of events, like FR triggers and stuff like that, and dates for Worlds. I'll have a separate video for that coming out sometime soon.
Oh, we got a pie chart. We got a pie chart. So this is the participation pie chart. So how many of these decks were used? 15% Zorga, 13% Blagmire, 10% Rezael, 7% Welstra, 7% Varga, 5% Seraph, actually, and only then 4% Eva. So actually, Eva not brought that many. In Japan, Eva's not being respected as highly, surprisingly. I feel like it's the West that respects Eva higher. Then we got 4% Shiranui, 4% Maigo, 3% Luard, and 28% everything else. And then the winning list, the team used, we have Justin. He played Blagmire. This is, of course, the list that's been kind of, quote-unquote, solved, I guess. Kind of everyone has been playing this particular list. It's just a question of which cyclers you play. So whether you want to play the new Gun Cycler or the original Layminia. I found a lot of people still prefer the Layminia as well. And oftentimes like 3 of this and only 3 of the order. So it kind of depends on how you want to figure out your ratios. But fronts and crits are definitely kind of a staple because you deck out otherwise. But yeah, so this is, oh, it's actually quite different. So this is, we got Headhunter. We don't have RFD. It's actually the new Snail and 3 of the thing that binds your orders. So you get to like power up with Zorga a bit faster. I guess like the one awkward thing I've found with Roaming Prison Dragon is that when you call off of Zorga Nadir, you know, you can't call the RPDs because they want to call by their own effect. The things you call, like oftentimes I'm like, I guess I'm gonna call a dog in a PG and bounce the PG back to hand, right? All right, next we got Welstra in 3rd place. Oh, not in 3rd, in 1st place, but the 3rd player. So this is a pretty aggressive list. I like the order lineup. I do like the extra copy of the grade 3 Oriente and the aggressive grade 2 lineup as well because it's prioritizing being able to proc on battle phase.
I guess we can pick up from the first thing, which was the Keter grade 1. So they basically, again, last week we talked about the grade 1 cycle cards, the grade 1 generics that they're doing for each of the nations. And for Keter, I'd say this one's probably the best one. So it essentially says that when you call it, and like all of these have the restriction that you have to have the same or lower grade than your opponent, you look at the top card of your deck and then put it on top or bottom and then it gets plus 2k. So like that effect already is like, the second effect is generic. They all share the same one where when you discard a card from hand, when it's in, this card is in the rear or in drop, you can Energy Blast 3 and remove this card from the game to take the discarded card back to hand. So I feel like in Keter, like obviously the generic effect is good because like Youthberg, you can get the card back that you discarded.
Right.
And then you also discard for like the countercharger for Rezael, for example, too. That's pretty good. There's also the grade 1 ride line for like Liela Morta. That's also like you draw 2, discard 1 normal unit, so you can get that back. So that effect is good in Keter. But I feel like the first effect too is like, no matter what Keter deck you're playing, you're pretty happy. Like you get to peek at top, right?
No cost top control is like always good.
Yeah.
You usually play 1 counterblast for that, but he's just doing it without any causes. This is always a good effect we want to have in our deck.
Yeah, so I feel like this one is going to be used in Keter. I think you definitely want to get yourself 4 of this one for, I think most decks, honestly. It feels like also just being a 10k attacker going second is like, you can aggro back pretty easily.
Like you can aggro on turn 2 as a 10k beater on the front row as well. Because you don't mind it getting killed and go to the drop because you just pop the generic effect in drop anyway.
Yeah. So just for that alone, it's pretty good. And then we got the Brandt one. So the Brandt one I'm not too sold on. So the second effect is the same for all of them, but the first one is, again, you have to have the same or lower grade than your opponent's Vanguard when you call it, and then energy charge 1 and get plus 2k. I don't It's like energy charge 1 feels a bit too little.
Yeah.
Like-
It doesn't change much for just charge 1 because like everything
Yeah.
is like 2 or 3. So
You have to like play a couple of them to make a difference.
it doesn't really make a difference for just charging 1. Even charge twice is most likely not making a huge difference until turn 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's like 2. I guess if it was 2, I feel like it would maybe be a bit better. Just because then if you've used 2, you're actually getting something out of it.
Right.
Whereas here you use 2, you still don't even get like to use something for energy blast 3 yet. So that part makes me kind of question it. I feel like I don't know. The second effect might be good in some things like Orphis, just because it discards like you know cards for like the Regis and whatnot. And in general, like you discard cards for what else? Like Welstra likes that effect. Welstra discards a lot. So like Freiheit, Radline. So for that, it's pretty good.
Energy charge 1 might be useful for Welstra, but not for other decks.
Yeah.
Because like for other decks, everything is like cost 3 energy. So
Yeah.
it's only Welstra that has like 2
a
energy
2.
for the Vanguard, right?
Yeah. I guess might be a bit less of a like super must-have, but I think for Brandt players and for Keter players, the must-have is the Valtrosa and Riel. So that's like the Brandt Keter Sanctuary Dual Nation card. This one's pretty insane. It's like you call it from hand other than battle phase. You can choose a normal unit that doesn't have Sentinel for a drop or an order card from drop and bot deck it, and then you counterblast 1 to look at top 5, choose a card, and then you do one of the following. If the card you chose is an order that isn't a regular piece, you add it to your hand, but if the chosen card is equal, like it's a card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, you call it to rear. So to me, this already is like crazy good in so many decks. Like even in Brandt, like in Eva, this is like, this helps you find your research, helps you, like, it's top 5 so you can find your, like, promo if you don't have it.
Yeah.
It finds you your Obscudates because it calls it to rear, so it procs the Obscudate effects too.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's so much about it already that's, like, super, super good. And, like, that's just one Keter deck. Like, I think people are also saying, I mean, one Brandt deck.
Yeah.
But I think even in Keter, people were also saying that, like, this is pretty nice in, like, Leah Lamorta because, like, she now doesn't necessarily have to play the order package anymore necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you could because it works, like,
Yeah,
it works with this card too.
Well, yeah.
It's like, because a lot of Keter decks play the order package, it's
Right.
like, you can, this card is like a perfect fit into that.
Yeah. And then you just like, especially if you're playing the order package, you want to find a docky as soon as you can. So you just top 5 and see if you see the docky.
Yeah.
Like, so like it's either this or like the other grade 2, the So Blast 1 top 5. Like you can use both just to search the docky from your deck.
I feel like you probably play one or the other one.
Yeah. But like, it's just like good to have more choices among the decks.
So, God, like there's so many, like I honestly want people in the comments to let me know like what decks that you play in Brandt or Keter that work with this, because I feel like there's so much. Like for me, I just thought about Eva already, but just in Eva alone it seems so good, but I feel like it honestly like only gets better the more you think about it. So I think for me, if I have to like name the strongest Dual Nation cards, for me it's this one and the Chinese cabbage, the Hakusai. Hakusui, yeah. The cabbage is also like insanely good.
It's
Like,
still insanely good. Even after like a week we think about it, this is still insanely good card.
yeah. So that one's a big winner. But then after that on Monday, they revealed the new Dual Nation card that is for Stoicheia and Keter Sanctuary. And this one's also pretty good. So it's like it's like a marine lady riding on a Keter dragon. So they all have like the restriction that, you know, has to be placed from hand, not in battle phase. It lets you look at top deck and then either put it on top or discard it. So you can't put it on bottom. So that's something that's kind of important. So if you see something that you don't want on top, it has to be discarded. Or I guess you can choose to leave it on top. But then you count must 1 and either get a normal order back from drop into your hand, or choose a grade 2 or greater from drop and call it to rear. In a way, you have to think about this where it's like, okay, you already have ways to get back orders in some Stoicheia decks, but then in Keter, not so much. So like if you're running the Keter like order package and you want to like get those orders back to hand, then this could be a good candidate. But then also it's like, you know, being able to revive grade 2 or greater, it's like some decks don't really need it. It's like Rezael already revives stuff, so it doesn't really care. Like Luard as well doesn't really care about this either. But then there's like, there are some decks, I want to say, like, there was one that came to my mind when I was thinking about this card. It's like, this card seems less useful in Stoicheia to me, because they already have a lot of revival effects to begin with. And so like there you might use it just for getting back orders, which I guess could be strong depending on the Stoicheia deck.
Yeah, but I also feel like all the Stoicheia deck that plays a lot of order now, they have their own way to cycle the order as well.
Yeah.
So I guess like for what I see, I would see it more like a Stoicheia card that you can use in Keter.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about the card. Yeah.
It's kind of like Maple. Maple was the exact same. So I don't know. This one I feel like I'd also like to hear the comments, like what your thoughts are, because I feel like I couldn't really come up with like huge examples where like, oh, this card shines more than anything else. So I feel like I still felt like I wanted to see something more from it. And then in terms of the final reveals that we got actually on Tuesday, we got the Stoicheia Grade 1, which basically this one lets you look at top card. Well, it doesn't even look at top card. It mills the top card of your deck. So it's like, the way it's worded is that it says discard up to 1 card from the top of your deck and it gets plus 2k. So the way it's worded is like, it's ichimai made. So that kind of means like, does that mean you can look at it? Or does that mean you have to declare 0 or 1 and then if you declare 0, you can't even look at it?
I feel like you can't even look at it.
Right, because it doesn't say look.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, so what's the point of like writing that?
Right.
So it's kind of weird. I guess like if you're playing a deck that needs a big drop zone, I guess, then yeah, you'll play this. But otherwise, I don't know. Are there any big super discardy decks in Stoicheia right now? It's like, can't really think. Like Zorga doesn't really, Rascalia doesn't really, and then Leonorn, I guess, like in battle phase, you know, like the original Leonorn does, but the other Leonorns don't.
Right.
So, I don't know. This one, the Stoicheia one did not impress me, personally.
It's like, you could put in, but I don't, in my mind, I don't have a particular deck that I really want to put this in to use the effect at the moment.
I kind of felt the same. So then finally, we had the Lyrical one. So I was actually surprised that Lyrical did get one of the grade ones too. So Lyrical one says that you get the plus 2k after you call it, and then if you've played an order, you either Soul Charge 1 or Energy Charge 1. And like, I feel like there are quite a few order-based decks now. I mean, you have like Kyoka, you have Fennel.
Yeah.
Like, what else is there that plays orders well? I guess it's mainly those two.
But like even some people play like the, I don't know, I kind of see less now, but they even play some people used to play the 5k order for the whole field.
True, in like in prisms and stuff.
Yeah, and then like Lutetia also plays order as well. So
true.
So like I think most like in the meta Lyrical deck, they do still play order.
And it's a question of, do they need that soul or do they need that energy?
Yeah, but energy is like the Vanguard one. Like one energy doesn't help, or does it help or not? It's probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
So it's like, do you need the soul? But Kyoka already solved the soul problem by all the new cards. So do we need the soul charge?
Not sure.
It's kind of like, I guess it depends on the deck, or like, do we have other cards that we change the build of the deck we mentioned? But at this moment, we don't really need Soul Charge that bad compared to we used to before.
And like, what are you discarding in Lyrical too? It's like, you're discarding Kyoka, I guess? That's about it?
Yeah, but other deck doesn't discard at all, to be honest.
Not much.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a card that'll get better with time if they add more cards that like draw and discard, but for now it's a bit sus. And then the final Dual Nation was the Dark States Brandt one, which also was a bit of a question mark to me. So this one again, lets you, so it's kind of interesting. It lets you look at the top cards of your deck equal to the number of cards that are in your set orders in your order zone plus 1. So, and then if you can choose 1, put it to soul, and if you looked at 2 or more, you have to shuffle the deck, and then you can count plus 1 to either choose a grade 2 or greater from your soul and add it to your hand, or choose a set order from soul and put it into your hand. So the problem for me is that Dark States doesn't really play set orders.
Yeah,
like
there's no set
that's
order
the immediate problem. Is like
they
only have the ones in the festival booster basically that like give like the buffs to your field. But are you gonna play that just for this? Like, in terms of calling cards from Soul, like Dark States already has that. So it doesn't call it. That's to hand, I guess.
I like it's add to hand. Like add to hand actually like
Persona
the small
cycling.
stuff. Yeah, but it also feels like you put a Dark State card into Vanguard.
Yeah, I guess like you can, if you soul charge your like PG or something, or like your OT, you can get it back with this. With that, this is like nice. I guess like in prison too, you could like play this in prison, get an extra soul, and then like if your initial soul charge 3 got you like a like put, I don't know, your grade 4 or your PG or OT or something, you just get it back to your hand. So I guess it could be good for that. But the set order from soul to hand, I don't really see that being used too much.
Yeah.
It's like, if theoretically you could get back like the
great
henceforth.
one. Yeah.
But
we don't really need that now.
not
Because like, you use the counter blast for that, then use it to counter charges, like it just fly my 0.
Yeah, kind of defeats the point. So I think that it's not the most impressed with this one, honestly. I feel like the nations already kind of do what they need to do within their own nations. And then the final thing was that they revealed a lot of the reprints.
All right. Oh! Whoa! Shenri, Sages, Roaming Prison Dragon, Freiheit. Amandine is a bit random, but maybe this might be for the future. And Yuika again! Yuika again! We've had so many Yuika reprints. Couldn't this be a Valshablan if I am to be just a little bit, you know, greedy?
So lyrical reprints are just like the promos from the past year. And of course, we've had the Medial one reprinted like 7 times. I feel like we keep seeing her over and over again.
All the time.
And then they did announce that RE pluses are 1 per box. So obviously not 1 of each, but just 1 in general. And there's a total of 13 of them, which means that a case has 30 boxes. So you're getting either 2 or 3 copies of each one, which is, you know, you're not getting a full playset from a case. But the first page, these are basically monthly Bouchard reprints. And the big hits here are like the Sapien Owl was pretty expensive in Japan.
Yeah.
The Leonorn, the Luster Impact Dragon was pretty expensive. And then Muna has been going up. She's a prison card that's been played for quite a while now. So she's good. But then the second page is the thing where like all the bangers are in. So it's like Shenri reprint. Like Shenri is like $2 in English. So she doesn't cost anything. But like in Japan, she's still like 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah, it's huge.
She used to be 50.
Yeah, right.
Like Freiheit is a huge one because that's the only expensive card for Welstra. Like I hope that the Freiheit price goes down so that whole deck you can build like for like under 100, like 150 or something.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
it should be. If it goes down, then it's like everything.
Like Welstra's like 100 yen. It's like all the other parts are like
So
200 yen or less. It's like everything is super cheap except for Freiheit.
Yep.
And then Roaming Prison Dragon is a really like the first time they've reprinted Roaming Prison Dragon outside of like the alternate art they did before.
Yeah.
So that's really huge because Zorga's a big deck right now that a lot of people are playing, and that's like the only expensive card for the deck too, basically.
Yeah,
so
because it's an old card that never got reprinted before.
Yeah. But then speaking of cards that have had been reprinted is Yuika on her 4th printing ever. We were kind of talking about this before we were recording, how like maybe this is the last time ever they reprint Yuika, and after this the next card they reprint 4 times will be Valshablan.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Because I'd say that was the lyrical card they should have reprinted, because she definitely could use the reprint a bit more in my opinion.
Even in Japan it's like 50 to 60 bucks for a piece now in some shops.
Has it gone up that much again?
Like
Valshablan, yeah.
Valshablan is like 5,000
Yeah, true. It's not nice.
So like, we would like to see her getting reprint soon.
100%. 100%. So then I don't really get the Amandine, the Dark States reprint is like, it's not really used in anything. So maybe this is like a future proof, like some deck is going to come out soon that uses it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like preventing a big price increase. And Sajas too, like instead of Sajas, I would have rather seen them reprint Tithfault, the Order Cycler.
Yeah.
She's like 40 bucks right now.
Yeah, I just sold 4 and they pay for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. He like finished the Vanguard deck, finished the One Piece deck, finished Digimon deck.
Yeah, finished the Evolve deck.
Evolve deck too. Yeah, it's like pretty crazy. So overall, the second reprint page is overall pretty nice. Like Vessel Booster has a lot of value in it. There's also a lot of other reprints too that, of course, are just like the regular RE reprints. But yeah, that was basically all the reveals from the week. Any big thoughts from everything?
I want to hear more people about how they see about the 2 nation cards, because like I didn't really play Dark State that much, and I Stoichia I also only played Nianon, so like most of the deck that I don't really touch much, they might be very useful on. So
yeah.
So I would like to hear more about them. If anyone watching this video has some like good idea or insight on them.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments. Because for me, it's the same as well. It's like, I always think about the decks I use first, and then after that, people go like, oh, this is really good in Luard or Shibno, and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, it's like, you kind of catch on a bit afterwards. So I am curious to see where they'll be used. These will be legal on Saturday, which is the second day of Daibangasai. So we will be seeing some results, using these cards. I think especially like the grade 1 Keter card, you'll see in a lot of Keter decks for sure.
Yeah.
And some of these dual nation cards like the cabbage as well as the Keter Brandt one, I think we'll definitely be seeing here and there. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna shape up. Next week, we're gonna talk about the new Regulus pieces as well as over triggers that are gonna be revealed across Thursday and Tuesday. So that's gonna be exciting because Regulus pieces and OTs are, despite being once per deck, are very impactful cards.
Yeah.
And especially Regulus is, you know, they've been releasing pretty interesting ones. Yep. So I hope they release more interesting ones and hopefully not too super important to the point that they're worth 50 bucks each.
Yeah. But last year's Festival Collection, OT and Regulus piece are important cards,
Yep.
so I would expect like even for this year it will be around the same.
Yeah, some people are saying maybe we get like a set order Regulus piece. That'd be kind of interesting. So
also we might get some like of the collab OT in like a generic stuff, more like just like clean the board or like you just call like free cards from your draw.
Yeah.
But sorry, we get those in the collab.
True, yeah,
already.
we did.
Yeah.
So we could. Might happen. I guess we'll have to see next week.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Oh my god, you can get Hikari's storage box.
So yes, that has been our little summary and kind of like opinions and thoughts on this week's reveals. Again, let me know in the comments below if you like this format. I know a lot of you guys said that you prefer it because it's a lot more constructed and you get to actually hear our opinions and it's not just kind of like me reading the effects and reacting and screaming. So let us know, let me know what you guys prefer from in terms of the format and any other suggestions for this kind of format too. But overall, I'm having quite a lot of fun with it, so I've been enjoying it myself. But anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And of course, I've been uploading weekly now exclusive channel member POV fight videos where you get to learn all kinds of decks between me and Jason. So this week we also have one coming out. I'm actually scheduling them every Saturday these days. So you get to support the channel, help me do cool stuff like my invitational, and then you also get some content out of it. So it's a good way to support the channel. And otherwise, check out all the other stuff like socials in the description below. But with that, it's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.